In this Blender tutorial, I will show you how to edit a sequence of video clips using a newer version of Blender. I shall be using version 2.80 and this is the beta version, so a few things may change when it's generally available. Okay, if you just hit return on your keyboard, that'll get rid of the banner. Now you've got a couple of options to go into the video editor. Very top of the screen, to the the right of scripting, there's a little plus sign. You can left click on this and then left click video editing and then left click video editing again, or if you come up to file, left click on file, and then next to new, left click on video editing. Okay, and everything has changed, but it's not as hard as it looks. First thing, the properties. To the right of the screen there's a little button that to me looks like a printer. It's the second one down, and this, if you hover your mouse over it, it will actually come up as output. So just left click on this and this brings up all your your film properties, and as a default it comes up at 24 FPS. Now it should change when you load your video into Blender. One thing I would suggest you check, if you look in the box that says PNG, just left click on this and look to see if you've got something called FFmpeg video. Your options will be very limited if you haven't got that. You may have to look at installing FFmpeg on your computer. It's not difficult. I won't go into how you do that because it'll depend on your operating system. So I'm not going to do anything with this yet. So let's just bring a couple of video clips into the timeline down here. So first of all, you've got option up here, add, or you can hold down Shift A with your pointer in this timeline. So that's Shift A, and then you need to look for movie. Left click on movie and this will bring you into your file browser. Now the next thing you need to do is go through your files till you get to the file your clips are in. So we'll go to these here, and these are all the my video files. So obviously not much use because I can't see anything. So top of the screen, to the left of the button that says AZ, there's four little squares, little thumbnails. Left click on these. It'll actually come up and say thumbnails when you hover your mouse over it. Left click on these. Happy days. So I'm not going to do a huge amount of video clips, but I'll do 3. So basically I'm going to hold down Shift and left click on 3 video clips. When I've done that, I'll come to the top of the screen and then left click, add movie strip, and this will happen. With your pointer in the monitor, you can increase or decrease the size by rolling your middle mouse button, and then in the timeline again you can do the same. So with your pointer in the timeline or the tracks, just roll your mouse till you can see everything, and then if you hold your middle mouse button down you can drag your clips so you can see them. Now if you've never used Blender before, because of the way it's set up, you'll notice there's a slightly lighter sort of area of shading here. Now Blender always as a default works with the number of frames. So at present, if I was to just render this, I would only get from here to here, and effectively if you look at the very bottom of the screen it'll say end 250, so it'll render 250 frames regardless of the frame rate that your video is going to be rendered in. So first of all, we need to change the length here, and there's lots of different ways people do it. Some people have actually said I do it wrong, but it doesn't really matter, because you're going to be editing these, so the end's going to change eventually anyway. So just very quickly, what I would do is I'll just press my page up button a couple of times. If page down goes one way, page up goes another way, and that's all I'm going to do. So that just gives me a rough idea of where the end is, or you can guess it and put in something ludicrous like 20,000. But anyway, to the bottom here, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to just drag this up a little bit so it's clearer. So to the very left here, this tells me I've got 1,705 frames. Now if I come to the end part where it says 250, I'm going to just left click and type in 1705 and hit return. So that's my first bit done. Now with your pointer over the blue marker, timeline marker, you can move your marker, but you can obviously see the first problem you've got. It lags terrible, skips, jumps. I don't even think it'll probably play very well. Now it's all over the place. So I'm going to just go back using this jump to first last track. Okay. Video editing. Most of what I do, I use video editors that have the option of using what they call proxy clips. Now these are clips that are generated in the editor and are a lot lower definition, number of pixels are less and everything else, so it makes life a lot easier. Although when you re-render your video, it will render it to the full definition, for want of a better word. But anyway, I'll just show you how to do this. First of all, what I'm going to do is I'm going to left click on the first track and hold down shift and left click on the 3 tracks. Now that's selected all of them. Okay, now place your pointer in the box that says edit strip and roll your mouse until you can see a box that says proxy timecode. Place a tick in the box next to it. Now you've got options here: 100%, well there's no point, 75%, 50% or 25%. I would select the 25% by left clicking on it, because it's such a small view, you're not going to notice anything. Okay, and then next thing you're going to do, look for the box that says rebuild proxy and timecode indices and left click on this. A little box will come up here and you'll have to wait till it's finished. Okay, well that is finished doing its business. This won't work until you change something in the monitor, so place your pointer in the monitor and then press N on your keyboard and look for the box that says scene render size. Left click on this and then left click on the size relating to your proxy clips that you've created. So I've used 25%, so I'm going to left click on 25%. Place your pointer back in the monitor and then just press N to get rid of that panel. And now if I hold my right mouse button down on the timeline marker, wow, it's so much better. So Blender is very good with proxy clips. Also, if you want a more standard editor, I would suggest looking at Kdenlive as well. I have sort of tutorials on Kdenlive as well. But anyway, Blender's as good as Kdenlive. It just doesn't have some of the fancy whistles and bells. So first of all, I'm going to place the marker back to the beginning. So again, I won't go into shortcuts. I'll just come down here and I'll go jump to first last keyframe. Okay, let's cut some clips. Hold down shift and left click on the green and blue bars. Blue is audio, video, green is audio, and then just press G to grab it, and it didn't work, so I need to do that again. So left click on the video clip, hold down shift and left click on the audio, and then just press G and move your clip to the point where you want it to start. You don't need to cut the beginning of a clip in Blender. And then left click to accept. Now this section here before the blue marker, which should be set at start frame 1 down here, won't render, so you don't need to cut it. Okay, I'm going to just, you can play through your clip if you want. Left click on the button down here. In fact, I'm going to just kill the audio because it distracts. Like I said, you can play it like this, or you can hold your right mouse button down and just decide where you want to. I know it wobbles about there, so I'll just finish there. So with your marker at the point where you want to cut your clip, now there are other fancy bells you can do. This is just a basic editing, so you might have to do a bit more research on other ways of cutting clips if you don't want to do what I'm doing. So we've got the video and the audio selected. I'm going to just press K on my keyboard, and then I'm going to left click on the video clip, hold down shift and left click on the audio clip, and then press X and left click erase strip. Okay, hold your right mouse button down on your marker and move your marker to your next clip. So we'll go to there because I don't want this chap running in from the right. Again, left click on the video track, hold down shift and left click on the audio, so sorry, video, and then shift and audio the way around, and then just press K to cut it, and then left click on the video track, hold down shift, left click on the audio track, press X and then erase strip. Again, use your right mouse button, drag your frames over, and again select both of the tracks, press K, again select the ends you want to remove, then X and erase. Let's go to the next one. Now this one's quite a long one, and this is where proxies do come in handy. I want to get to the point where the train just starts coming from behind the train. So there he is, so we'll go there. Select both the tracks using left mouse button and shift, press K and then select the sections you want to remove, and then X and erase strip, and again right mouse button all the way over, I don't know, where should we go, just there, and select both the tracks using the left mouse button and shift, press K, again left mouse button and shift, then X and then erase strips. So that's not doing too bad. So I'm just going to go back to the beginning of the edit, bearing in mind this bit here, as I said right at the beginning, we won't be using, and again, there's different ways. You can box select these, but it's just as easy just to reselect them again using shift and your left mouse button. So once you've selected one of your clips that you've edited, cut, just press G and then move your clip carefully until it just snaps. It'll turn red, and it can be a bit fiddly, but that'll do. It usually snaps back out anyway. Okay, then again select your next clip, left mouse and shift, press G and grab it over. Yep, that'll do. Then we need to go to the end to reset the end section, so use page up until you get to the end, and what I usually do, or I would do, is just hit me left arrow button once, and that's good enough for me. So we want to finish rendering here. Now at present it will render from frame 1 all the way through to frame 7050. Now if you look here to the left of where it says start, it'll tell you where your actual last frame is. So this says it's 785, so I'm going to left click on the end frame section and type in 785 and hit return, and that's, you're good to go. Okay, back to the top right of the screen, making sure you've got the output section selected, and also just check that your frame rates are right. If you're having trouble with the frame rates, before you bring your videos into Blender, change them manually to match the frame rate that you're using if it doesn't pick it up. Okay, so output, little box says TMP, next to it is a folder. Left click on this folder and then navigate to where you want to save your video clip, and as I'm such a lazy person, I'll just dump it on my desktop. Now I've already done a practice run on this and I've called it trains, so I'm going to just call this, I don't know, I'll just call it new trains. I'll do. And once I've put a description in here in this box, I'll left click on accept. You might have to do that twice. Okay, so that's telling you where you'll save it. Next one, PNG. Left click on the file format. In the box it says PNG, and left click FFmpeg video. Okay, now you've got different options here. What I would do is just left click on the little arrow next to encoding, and then you've got this box that says container. Left click on container box, it says, oh, I can't even pronounce that, but anyway, left click on the container box and you've got different options. So let's save this as a QuickTime video. So left click QuickTime, and it's got your codecs, you've got your output quality as well, so I'm gonna left click on medium quality and let's go high quality. And finally, remember when you render in Blender, unless you actually, that rhymed, render in Blender, unless you actually tell it to render the audio, it will render without any audio. So next to the audio track, left click on the little arrow, and then where it says no audio, left click and then decide the audio format you're going to use. I've kind of forgot what they use on QuickTime, but it should work with MP3, so I'll just left click MP3. Okay, now rendering. Top of the screen there's a box here that says, in fact I pressed the wrong button, there's a box here that says render. Left click on this and then you got a choice. Don't left click on render image, because what will happen is it'll just give you an image of this last frame or wherever your marker is. So again, top of the screen, left click on render, and then render animation. You can also press no, forget that, just left click on render animation, and this will happen. And once it's finished, I'll come back to it. Okay, well, that's finished rendering. Just as a footnote, if you narrow your render view down, what you'll see while the video is rendering is the time along the bottom here. If you've dragged this up rather than watching it render. Also on Linux you get a bar comes across the Blender sort of tab here. So I think that's all I can really show you. Hopefully this will play. I might have a problem, I don't know, because I've got a lot of things running right now, but let's have a look. New train. No, job's a good one. Well, hopefully that's helped a few people, especially with the newer 2.80 version coming. I don't know why it skipped there, probably to do with my GPU. Anyway, hopefully that's helped somebody. Thank you for watching. Cheers.